Hi everyone. Today is Thursday. It is June the 13th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band. As you can see, we still have the anchored VWAPs showing overall positive trend. And so what I want to show you is the following calculations. These are very simple, but they work. And they work time after time, and this is the perfect example of that. All right, first of all, we look to the near term past, and we said, what's the highest volume candlestick? We drew a rectangle around it, and then we replicated that rectangle in the move up and to the north. Okay? Now, I expected the rectangle probably to hold a wider swath than that in terms of sideways formations, but it has moved out. We also had the FOMC and the CPI yesterday, and I believe that Powell surprised a lot of us by saying, we're not going to lower rates like the rest of the G7 has so far. We're going to stand pat. And I find this remarkable because I know he has a tremendous amount of pressure on him to do the opposite, but interestingly, I believe it was a unanimous vote. So that being said, look at where price action collapsed or stopped yesterday. Measured move here, 1 and 2. Now, you're going to notice also that I have the channel here, the channel formation. I'm going to highlight right there. This is NFP Friday, right? That's the range. What did I do? I replicated the range, and of course, all of this type of strategy is called a measured move strategy, and it talks about where price is headed. And so in this measured move, it says, all right, this is the range for the NFP. Let's move it up here and see where it collapses. Notice the range of the NFP is almost the same range as this, but as it duplicates into this edge, comes into just about the same place that says, you know what, after 54.45, we've got some measured moves that are going to say, I need to pump the brakes. So what's next? We're going to measure it again until a new volume candlestick opens up, or we get ourselves another critical day of news. So I'm going to clone this, and we're going to look up here, right? And so, same thing. We're going to clone the NFP channel, and we're going to move it up according to the channel. So it's going to come in just inside of that. And those are going to be the numbers we look for. Here's the thing. Why did price action move the way it moved yesterday? My thought, trapped shorts. Everybody's expecting this market to come back. As I mentioned yesterday, I got a note. Actually, I got a couple of notes from people that said, hey, when do you think it's time to short this? To my response was, not now, for sure. Okay, but here's what we have. We have another formation where our moving average is pretty far from the actual price, right? It's almost 100 points, right? 53.50 up here and 54.45. So almost 100 points. So what happens when we get very far away on a range expansion? We have a tendency to do this kind of stuff. Pullbacks or buy zones. It is going to be a digestion day, so we're going to look to the midpoint to see if we can hold spaces between 54.11 and 5400. Okay, those are my edges. Of course, it is Thursday, so I'll be trading on fast markets on Top Step TV, and we are also going to be talking in the Benzinga Pro platform about the new trades that we had yesterday, but we wanted to wait to see what the digestion was going to do for the charts. All right, so that's what we're looking, pullbacks or buy zones. This is a space where the FOMC gave us a big move, and now we're going to have hangover, right? It's going to be a hangover move, and it's likely to look like this. Shallow pullback to the midpoint, 54.11, rise into the top of the range, maybe a wick higher into 54.60, but then a space where we collapse and look forward. So how do you know how to trade this? Again, just go back to the early vids. I say it over and over again. Just pick a random one and go back. Here's how you know what's going on. Am I making higher lows? If I'm making higher lows, I'm headed into some kind of resistance. If I'm making lower lows, I'm headed into some kind of support. So how do I know where that support is? I look to the left. Here, we can see 54.11 is pretty far down. That's like the 3 o'clock, 3:30 wick. Let's move it up there, right? So are we under the VWAP? Yes. Is the VWAP band expanding? Yes. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I've got volatility in here. My momentum is down, but my trend is flat. So what does that mean? If momentum is down, but my trend is flat, there's going to be a base that I bounce off of. And so could it be this one here? So far, the pre-market shows that 54.25 is well below the current bounce area of 54.26. But that's what we look for. Where would we want to trade? If I'm under, if this is negative and this is negative, my bounces are going to be sell zones, right? Especially if it's flat to negative, I'm going to see bounce action. And so I'm going to look for the area, prior support, new resistance, and I'm going to get here and I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to wait and take an introductory short at 54.35, and my target will be the anchored VWAP that is sitting right here, or the second or third volatility band. Here's the thing. If it doesn't come in and it starts bouncing, look, higher lows, it's still trying to recapture the edges. What do I want to do today? I'm going to be looking, particularly on fast markets, I'm going to be looking for the highest high to show structure to break down, or the lowest low to show structure to bounce. And I'm going to trade that trend. All right, let's look at the corresponding SPY. Very tight, right? Let's go back to the daily range. This is, let's clear off some of this. I'm going to remove the, hello, come along. I'm going to remove the fib. This is the NFP. I'm going to turn it into a channel. It's NFP Friday. Oh dear. Let's delete this. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Remove all the horizontal lines. Yes. Remove the channel. Remove. Okay. Oh no, that was a channel, wasn't it? Duh. And I'm going to bring it down so it locks here, but I'm going to make this sideways. Let's make the main line a brighter color, huh? So we can see what's going on. All right. Okay, so this is the NFP. Still doesn't look straight, does it? All right. That's the NFP, and I'm going to duplicate it. Looks like it moved outside of that. So let's clone it and move. No, right, look at that. Oh my gosh, measured move formations are so beautiful. They are so stinking beautiful. All right, so what are we looking at? 2 times the NFP currently, a little bit of squishy action right here. What do we expect? Potentially inside formations, right? If I can draw, let's do a border around that. And that border gives us the price action of 547. We talked about that yesterday. And the midline, from an eyeball perspective, looks like it's right here where they're arguing at 543, right? Maybe at 544. Now, if you were at the Zoom meeting, we were talking about selling this 544 on the 0 DTE because it was very likely to deliver high impact. It was a beauty, right? Big spikes up, you're going to want to sell the at the call. 0 DTE, very likely collapse into the range. That's the 547 area. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Pullbacks for buy zones, somewhere around 540 should be the midline event. And then potentially, if it loses that edge, 537. Those are the numbers we're looking for there. Let's take a look at the NQ. All right, lots of data here. So I'm going to remove the fib. And then I'm going to remove, pardon all the throat clearing, you know my allergies here in the Carolinas are always bananas. Yes, bananas. Okay, so here we are moving all the horizontal lines. Look at how many of these we've had to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. NFP shallower. Now, here's the thing. This looks like it might have gone 2 times the NFP. So let's clone 1, and let's clone it again. Oh, shock upon shocks. 2. Look at that. Now, the NQ is doing quite well. So 2 things we're going to do. We're going to clone this NFP again, and it's the NFP channel, the range of motion. And we're going to look at the top. A lot of people are calling 20,000, and we know how manic the NQ is, right? That's probably why it's my favorite place to trade. But nevertheless, it can be pretty zany in its moves back and forth. I believe we are caught between 381 and potentially 705 to maybe 814. What are the traders telling us today? Well, am I above the close of the prior day? Well, I'm fighting right at it. Close of the prior day was 613, and that's where I'm fighting right now. So buyers and sellers in a big battle right there. If it does what it normally does post FOMC, it's going to have a little bit of a hangover. So we're looking for the ranges to come in around, boy, 460 was a beautiful long action. And then 480 was also a beautiful long action all the way up into the range. Very likely that we come in to test that, right? Anne-Marie, that's over 100 points. I know, but it's the Qs. It is the NQ, and it is fairly zany. I do not see more range expansion to the north, though we could have it. I just don't see it. If we go to the 30-minute and we recalibrate, yeah, the anchored VWAPs, I mean, we could go higher. It is a buy the dip formation, no doubt about it. I just don't see gigantic range expansion. So what am I going to do? Well, what's trend? It's up. What's momentum? It's up. That means pullbacks are buy zones. So is the pullback shallow because of dramatic momentum? Potentially. Potentially. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for structure to build, and then I'm going to take the trade. When structure builds, one, we know where our stop is, and two, we know more people are coming in with us. And so the chances of our trade being wrong diminish. Okay, Qs, gapping up and fading immediately. All right, where is the NFP here? Let's remove this. Let's remove all the horizontal lines. Here are our channel formations for the highest volume. Going to replicate that. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to clone this one, and I'm going to move it up here, right? So now we got this. Where's our NFP? NFP Friday is right here. It's pretty small, right? Wait, 7? Yeah. NFP Friday is pretty small, but we're going to do it anyway. And let's see how many replications it takes. We're going to clone it here. Breaks out. We're going to clone it here. And then we're going to clone it one more time, right? NFP motions did not affect the NQ quite the same way. But look at how close we are to the halfway mark here at 476. Right? What's the high of the pre-market? 478.28. So is that it? High. 478, yeah. 476, 478.28, yeah. So, yeah, that's right up on this edge. And so we know that this halfway marker is going to give it some room. Now, you know, the 0 DTE Qs are very hard to trade unless you're staring them down. You can make some great money. You're going to rip your face off. All right? So, is the FOMC a big candlestick to watch? You know, I say yes. So what I'm going to do is create a new rectangle right here. I'm going to change the color of it on that edge. And, wait, what? Yeah, I have to show it. Yeah. I'm going to change the color of it, and we're going to know, all right, that's the FOMC. That's the FOMC box. All right? And it's about 1.5 times of the NFP box. So we'll see what goes there. Right? I'm going to delete this one. Remove. All right, we'll see. It's just a little bit tighter than this one, but we'll give it a go. We'll see how it looks. So far, so good. Halfway point in here is going to be yesterday's VWAP action, which is 472. That's the pullback. And that's what we're looking at. All right, 472 to 478 could be the range today, but the very high formations, I am going to say you better take your longs and run if you're doing it, because I think this is providing a lot of exit liquidity to traders who are long and just going, thank goodness I'm getting out. Here's why there is a problem. Look at how different the Dow looks. Now, a lot of people hate the Dow. Jack, yes, I'm talking to you. A lot of people hate the Dow because it is an arcane measurement tool of what's going on inside of the indices. Fact remains, when people move into the Dow, it rises. When people move out of the Dow, it declines. Take a look. I have done no changes from yesterday's video on this one. This is the FOMC number. Take a look at this. Right into the edge where the short was. And what happened? All day long it faded. Now, why? I don't know. But if it's not moving in tandem, they call these guys the three sisters, the ES, the NQ, the YM. If they aren't trading in tandem, there's a problem inside one of the structures. And somebody is going to start moving in the direction of the others. Now, sometimes the Dow leads the show, sometimes it doesn't. The concern remains that they're not moving in the same direction. So what are we looking at today? All right, here was our highest volume is this tiny candlestick. Horrible to measure. Absolutely horrible to measure. So what we're going to do now is measure the range of the NFP. All right, absolutely lovely. We're going to measure the range of this NFP. And what did I make that yellow? Yeah, I made some kind of yellow, orange, whatever. My brain is a sieve. I can't remember what I drank 5 minutes ago. All right, so we're going to replicate this up for upside action. And we're going to replicate it down for downside action. Now, Anne-Marie, is this legitimate? Well, I would say yes. The reason being twofold. One, it's about the second highest volume in the area. Well, no, that's not true. But it is a very important line. In terms of selling, it's still light, but I think it's a very important range to watch. So what are we going to do? Expectation is, look at all these higher lows, and then it turns to lower lows with this low, this inside candlestick here. Today's candle is inside of the candle we made on Tuesday. All right, so that's what we're looking for price action to hold. 38,486. My eyes are just not focusing this morning. All right, so that's going to be that edge. What are we expecting? Bounces or sell zones. Could the bounces be huge? Why, yes. Once we get inside of yesterday's range, we're going to start walking through yesterday's range. So you want to be very careful watching what's happening. The big picture says the bounces are going to sell. Why? Trend is down, momentum is down. But momentum is also flattening. And we've had a low, a higher low, a higher low. Potentially this is another higher low. And the other indices are moving up. So my thought is the dips going to be buy zones, and then the higher ranges going to be sell zones. So dips, where are we? I'm looking right here. 38,500, maybe 38,484, and then the bounce up into 38,748, maybe 38,880 or 808, somewhere around that area. This opening range seems to be giving us a fair bit of congestion. All right, that's it for me. No time to look at oil or gold today. Just ran a bit long wanting to talk about mechanics. Good luck trading today, everyone. I'll see you on the platforms.